And welcome to Meet the Polymaker. I am your host, Nightcore, also your community manager, Joel. You can call me any names you want. I have thick skin. So welcome to today's show. If you are new here, this is a show about a few different things. We do some 3D printing news or maker news, kind of sometimes go a little bit off track. We show off our community prints, and ultimately we meet the Polymaker, the maker of the week. So we like to change it up, throughout the weeks. We've never had the same guest. Not saying that won't ever happen, because there's some really cool projects in the works by a lot, but we have yet another new maker, not new to making, but new to the show. So we'll get to meet them here shortly. But with that said, make sure if you haven't already, there is an I am awesome right in the bottom there. Type that in chat. You're gonna have a chance of winning a spool of Polymaker filament that is available to anyone everywhere. If you're seeing this screen, you have the option to the possibility of winning a spool of filament that we will draw at the end of the show. So make sure to, like I said, type in the I am awesome in chat. That's YouTube, Twitch Worlds. Get it in there. TikTok is not live because for some reason we lost access, but we'll get that fixed. But thank you all for coming. With all that said, let's move right into the news. First up, we're going to talk about something we've talked about in the past. We always talk medical. We've talked about some 3D printed devices that can be customized for the trachea or the throat to open up for airways, for many different medical reasons. This is just another one of those feel-good stories where Georgia Tech actually used their 3D printing setup to 3D print a customized device. I think it was just called an airway device. It's able to splint and support an infant's airway. Specifically, this one was an infant. She's now, I believe, 4. She's a twin. She had suffered from double aortic arch, which is a heart defect, which I don't know is also those often heart issues often in infants lead to weak tracheas. Something new I learned there. Hopefully that's maybe something you learned new today too. But with that, the airway being blocked and just very weak, a lot of times they have to use tubes, everything else, be a little bit more aggressive and getting them taken care of, maybe more of a long-term thing. They were able to not only 3D print the device to be put in, but it was a biodegradable material that is naturally absorbed and safely absorbed into the body of the infant. I didn't see the timeline in it, but they were able to put it in there, allow the trachea to of course grow around it, strengthen around it, and then dissolve, when it's no longer needed. So I thought that's really cool, and we're going to see that a lot more in the medical field. We've seen, I got tons of headlines that I can go over of, bone grafting, skin grafting, organ creation. But like I said, just some of these things that can be installed to help things build around, or even a cast that can, an internal cast if you needed one that could dissolve safely in the body. I don't know exactly the material other than it is biodegradable. Obviously it's approved to be in the body, so some safe stuff, but I'm sure many, many more feel-good stories to come out of the medical field. Next up, we are going to talk about, it's not really 3D printing. They labeled it 3D printing as I was reading it, but I still thought it was kind of a cool use of AI. This is Enzoi. It's going to be, it's not released, I think it's in beta, but it's basically an ultra realistic sim or simulator. Basically sims on steroids. The screenshots and the videos that I watched, if it's legit, I'm not big into that kind of game, but if you are, it looks really cool. But what they're touting as they're incorporating a 3D print feature in the game, and what it's allowing you to do is actually take a picture of your items, whether it be something on your desk, a stuffed animal, something in your house. Take a picture, AI generates a model for it, allows you to then put it into your world. You can manipulate it inside that world, place it different places. And we've seen that before. We've seen where the AI is starting to be where you can submit a picture and it tries to get a general model out of it. Not super powerful, but I guess this one actually works pretty well. I'm sure it's probably using the same tech we've kind of talked about in the past, just fine-tuned. I don't know if this game will eventually allow that then to be an option to maybe export as an STL, or maybe it saves it into a file format that we can pull out of the game directory. If it's an easier to use AI type thing. A lot of them are like GitHub stuff where normal people aren't going to go download all the code and do all that stuff. I'm not. So I might like to have something I can just put the picture in, hit click, and it creates the model. But still, like I said, just a cool use of AI 3D modeling that's going to just get better and better. Unfortunately, which I'll say unfortunately, creators still have a way creative mind. AI can create some cool stuff, but there's some skilled modelers out there, so I'll give you guys props. Next up, new device. This is, we've kind of seen it coming. The Creality K1 SE. We like to talk about all devices, and I have a K1 I'm happy with. It works well. This is basically, I'll just say it, it's a P1P variant of the K1. It is still the same size as the K1. It's 220 by 220 by 250, 600 millimeter speed, 20,000 excel. It's a metal die-cast frame. But a couple of different things that it has. It does not have the AI webcam. There, of course, is no enclosure. Been pretty obvious in the picture. And then the K1 uses a 3-fan cooling system. This is replacing all 3 fans with one. They call it a dynamically balanced fan. So performance-wise, I think loyal. I've seen a couple people have had it, so and kind of did a quick review on it. We'll see. I mean, it's another option. The plus side is the cost. You're looking $359 for a fast. And it's a quality printer. You can knock Creality, but I still got plenty in my fleet. Next up, cars. We talk cars. Usually it's in races, race teams and things like that. This is going to be custom van interiors. This is a startup company. Goes by the name of Material Logic, which I thought actually rolls off the tongue really well and looks cool. So good job on that, the naming. But they are customizing camper vans with large format 3D printing. A lot of people now are wanting to go on the road. RVs are expensive. If you guys have never been in the automotive industry or have seen the prices, not just expensive to buy, expensive to drive. These things get 0 miles per gallon and take all the most expensive fuel in the world ish, but it's expensive. So a lot of people now are doing the nomad type thing where they have a van, they outfit it with just the necessities, a bed. Some of them have some counter space in them, some sinks, some stoves, depending on it. But this guy is actually customizing the interior with 3D printing. The gentleman that founded the company, I think it's Joep, is how it's pronounced, but he has 20 years of experience in private aircraft interior completions. That tells me the guy, has seen some fancy interiors. And looking, I know this is just one picture, but looking at this stuff on the website, it's some pretty high class stuff. But that just doesn't just enhance the aesthetics, also the functionality of things. So they can incorporate it in a lot of different things. They leverage 3D scanning, parametric modeling, and of course 3D printing to create the designs. They say they can do a whole van interior in 48 hours. Now, I believe that's more of a skin. I couldn't find the details there. I know the encasing that just kind of goes over the existing interior, not an actual from scratch build, but still 48 hours to have all the stuff you need to customize your van. Pretty cool. And last but not least, future of print to order. I've seen a couple different things. This is the first time it's more of a mainstream one, which Slant 3D, a lot of you guys have heard of. They actually released a plugin for their Shopify, or for Shopify, to allow other Shopify stores access to the 3D printing farms. So what essentially basically somebody's going to be able to do is take a model, they find a model they like, hey, I want this, upload it to the shop, then it gets sent to their printers, printed, they package it, ship it, and you get a printed object. I don't know the details on exactly how everything works. I don't have a Shopify store, so I couldn't download any plugin to mess with. Does it check for copyrights? I don't know. Do they just maybe sign a waiver? You sign a waiver that says that you have the rights to. But even then, it's kind of gray area. So I'm interested in seeing where it goes, because not everybody has access to 3D printers. And if you got a model and it's not, if it's cost effective to be able to order it, say grandma wants to buy little Timmy a fire truck. There's a really cool, fix some dude fire truck. Can they download that? Can they upload it? Do they have to pay rights? I mean, there's a lot of stuff I couldn't find information on, but it's kind of the start of it. So I wanted to kind of see where it goes from here. And I thought it was just a cool idea. I don't know how many printers they have in their farm, because I'd imagine if things start to ramp up, it's going to be pretty busy. And I would imagine they have their own software also that they program that's able to attach an order to a printer, to completion, everything else. But just a cool idea. I felt necessary to share. So that is it for the news, and we're going to go ahead and get to the showing off of the prints. And all these prints, for those that don't know, are shared through our Show Off Prints channel and our Discord at discord.polymaker.com. Feel free to always share your prints there, whether they're crazy, they're failures, they're insane, they're large, they're small, whatever they are, share them. You can likely be on the show. We usually do 5 prints. That might change when people share a lot more and it's hard to pick. But with that said, Karen Chow Designs, she not only printed this, but she also designed the baby duck. You know, the ducks have a lot of different meanings. My daughter loves Jeep Wranglers. Jeeps have the whole, you got to duck a Jeep. She actually has printed a duck that I had modeled many, many times over, puts them in a bag, carries them with her whenever we leave somewhere, and ducks people's Jeeps. But also rubber duckies and just ducks in general, people usually love. This duck too, and it's not on this link, but she had I can't remember who printed a 3D printed squeaker to be able to put in the ducks, which I thought was pretty cool. So just a fun little print. And Karen Chow, just an awesome person. Met her at Murph Murph this year, and we're gonna have her on the show here sometime soon. That file is available on Things, by the way. Next up, we have the Ham Turtle. This is modeled by a toy and printed by Z3 Designs. It is available on Cult 3D, and I mean, just look at it. I mean, just the colors themselves pop out, and then I mean, a ham turtle. Why? Because you can. That's why. It's a ham turtle. So I thought it was a cute print, a fun print. So thank you very much, Z3 Designs, for sharing. Next up, we've got one. I could not reach out to him in time to find out if this is available anywhere. This is designed and printed by one of our community members, Not So Dirt. I don't play it myself, but I knew right away when he showed it that is it Settlers of Catan? Yeah, Settlers of Catan. I only know it because my sister and her family played the crap out of this game. This is like kind of a card holder, and I think play pieces. I don't know fully about it, but just a cool thing that he's not like in depth, modeling for many, many years. He had actually shared this in our hangout, shared it with me, and thought it was cool, and he shared it in our show off. So I figured I'd share it here. So if you guys are playing, hit him up in Discord. I don't know if he's going to make it available, if it's a personal item, or if he'll have it out there. But if you seek help in the Discord, somebody's going to be able to answer it for you. Next up, we have Westry One, who printed the articulated Peregrine Falcon. You can't see because I'm on the wrong side. Oh no. This is by iMagina 3D. He's got a Patreon. Went through it. Lots of articulated stuff. I thought the Falcon turned out really awesome, especially in the multicolor. So just cool. I mean, we of course see all the dragons. Why not real life stuff? Sorry for those that believe in dragons. They're not real. But the Falcon, just a cool print. And last but not least, we have none other than the real Sam Prentice, not the fake one. The real one actually printed this Carrot Fairy House by PA1 Maker. Available on Calls 3D. PA1 also has a Patreon. I know that because I'm part of it. So about this print is, it's normally he does fairy houses. So small houses you can put outside, decorate your home with. This, he did it in large scale. I think it was, I can't remember, 800% maybe. But he did it on his new Elegoo Orange Storm Giga. So I'm sure there's some much larger ones coming, but I wanted to include one with the sun to show the scale of it. And I did get his permission, so thank you, Sam. But just fun prints. So again, if you guys want to share your prints, go to our discord.polymaker.com, show off prints, share them there. We love to see them, whether it's on the show or not. We love to see them. Inspires others to do things, gives them ideas on what to print, when sometimes we have a print block, because we all have been there. Plenty of print time and nothing to print. So with that said, we have some commercials. There might be a new one. There's someone in this chat that I'm sure is eagerly waiting, because this was actually submitted a couple weeks ago. So apologize, but we're going to take a break to commercials. And when we come back, we're going to meet our next maker.
Imagine owning some of the best songs about 3D printing this Discord has to offer. Polymaker presents 3D Printing Hits by Silverback and Little D, the best renditions of some of the greatest hits of all time. Hits like Hallelujah, Holly Smooth Criminal, All That She Wants Is Another Printer, Print Away,
There you go, print away.
Still the TD1, All About That Bag, No Stabbies, and Polyman.
It's a file tonight. We're all in the mood to see it extrude, 'cause you've got your printer tuned right.
Reserve your CD today with a special TV offer by going to polymaker.com and paying $39.99. Have your credit card ready. Seriously though, this music was a joke. go buy some Polymaker.
This is Polymax PLA, the toughest PLA in the world, and today we're gonna put that to the test. I printed this very mechanical model and we're gonna drop it from the 12th floor. You heard me well, the 12th floor. Let's go! Ready for the first drop in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that's crazy! Not even a scratch! Let's go and check it closer. Not even a single scratch. I dropped it again from the 12th floor and still not a single scratch. Buy your Polymax PLA right now!
Performance may vary depending on usage, individual factors, and external conditions. Individual result may vary, not a guarantee of specific outcome. Consult your professional before use. See website for details and limitations. Use responsibly.
Have you had bad customer service with your filament provider? Have you ever gotten a bad spool and never got a response when you emailed the company? Well, that won't ever happen when you reach out to Polymaker. Some people say that no company cares about you. Wrong. 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 If you never got a response after emailing a company that you've worked with in the past, you may be entitled to better customer service. We at Polymaker pride ourselves on good customer service, and we won't ever keep you waiting for a response. Email us now at support@polymaker.com and we'll get back to you within 1 business day. We'll fight for you.
And welcome back to Meet the Polymaker. We are here to meet the maker. So this gentleman here, he is part of our community. A lot of you have met him. A lot of you have met his mother at different events. And that's not a jab. That's people will get it when we get here. So none other than let's meet Traxman here. I still need to get rid of that transition. How's it going, Traxman?
Good. How's everybody doing tonight?
I think everybody's all good. Everybody out there in the Twitch and YouTube lands, I think they're ready to find out maybe something they don't know about you, or just rehear a story that they don't know about you, or that they do know about you. So with that said, for those that don't, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so I am Traxman25, also known as Adam, is my real name. I do a lot of 3D printing and just kind of hobbies in general, and I do a lot of full-size printing. So I'm actually the one who printed the life-size Polymaker scientist for Polymaker at their Rapid booth.
And which we'll talk about that in a little bit. Just an insane design. So
Yep.
I said, I know a lot of these stories, and like I said, I like hearing them, and I think these guys will too. Is just how did you get into 3D printing? I think that's a kind of a cool, cute story.
So I've kind of known about 3D printing for a long time. My mom was a teacher for high school doing technology. So she took a class and actually went and built a printer, a Flex Mendel, and learned how to teach students how to do that. And plus I had some friends in college who were into it, but it just wasn't quite there for me yet. And then a couple of years ago, I actually kind of started getting into cosplay and kind of started noticing that printing was coming along. The prints were getting a lot cleaner. faster, bigger printers were available. It was like, okay, it's time. Let's jump into it. And then, funny enough, I haven't done much cosplay since printing kind of took over.
You got interested into other things that 3D printing leads you down to.
Yep, exactly.
So now, of course, you said your mom had built one for the school. Was that for her personal and she used it for the school, or was that for the school, her first printer?
No, it was actually a continuing education class for her. So the school paid for her to go to it. So it's owned by the school, and she actually used it in the classroom.
All right. So then, did she shortly after, or did she already have something at home, or what kind of sparked it to bring it home, and then, of course, get her into it, and then eventually you into it?
I actually believe my dad, if I remember this correctly, my dad bought her, it was either birthday or anniversary, bought her a Dremel, one of the Dremel 3D printers to have at home. And so then they kind of got into it. And when I said I was ready to start getting into it, they didn't even give me a choice. I said, well, I'm thinking about it. And a week later, an Ender 5 Plus showed up at my door.
So you start off with it. That's a pretty decent printer for the time. I mean, especially size wise, it was one of the larger ones at the time.
Yep. Still is, honestly. And then not long after me getting that and them seeing the kind of stuff I was printing, they bought one for themselves as well.
Okay, so they didn't even have one. You were the first one with one in the house.
With the Ender 5 Plus. Yeah, they had the smaller Dremel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The Dremel. And now I can only imagine if I, told my wife, "Happy anniversary! Here's a 3D printer." Would not go nearly as well as it went for your mom, but she has an interest in it. My wife does it. Now with the 3D, of course, starting that with that Ender 5 Plus, I know yours is a base Ender 5 Plus with a lot of modifications at this point. How long did it take you to start getting into the modifications of the printer?
Oh, a couple of months. It wasn't too terribly long.
I did the thought I need to do better.
Did the Micro Swiss NG heads. I have two Ender 5 Pluses now, and they both have NG heads on them. That was a big improvement, but I wanted more. I wanted input shaping, so they're, including my parents' printer now, they're all running Octopuses with full clipper and all the bells and whistles.
Now with the big ones, of course, did you start right away with big prints, or was it kind of you eased your way into it? I mean, because of course that's the fear when you first get a big printer, is if you start printing something big and it fails.
Yep. Yeah, so a friend recommended, start with a Benchy, of course, which I looked at the Benchy and I was like, that's okay. But I got on Thingiverse and I found some little tiny ghosts, and those were my first prints.
Do you still have any of them laying around?
I do, but they're in the other room, unfortunately.
I'm the same way. I'm sentimental. Like, I got to keep these, first prints of things. So.
Oh yeah, they're not going anywhere.
So now, and to this day, you still use those. Those are what helped build the scientist, right? The life-size scientist.
Yep, they did the bulk of the work on the scientist. They did like this wolf here next to me. Yes, that is actually that big.
Oh yeah.
They did most of the parts on that. Some of my other printers did some as well, but yeah, now, definitely try to maximize volume.
With the big prints, obviously, starting to get or the big printers. How long until you started getting into not just to a big print that fits the bed, but where you started, with like Mouser, which the name of that's not Mouser, right? Is that the new one?
Yeah, correct. This is a new one. This is Squirrel. We had Mouse, which was the black one that I had at Rocky Mountain. For anybody who was there, saw that.
So was that the first time you took a, not just a big print, but something that you had to slice into pieces and parts, or did you do stuff prior to that to kind of get you warmed up to something so big?
So actually, as part of the cosplay thing, we actually did a full-size 3D scan of myself and 3D printed a mannequin. Because I'm a tall and lanky guy and I'm skinny. I knew there was no
Files
form mannequins available,
you, right?
No,
plus,
exactly.
Yeah, plus like helmets and armor is not scaled for that size.
Yep. So I actually have a full-size print of myself. That was my first big print, my learning experience of how to break stuff up.
There you go. Now, are you using the same software that you use, or did you use the same software then as you use now for splitting?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm using Blender
Okay, yeah.
for it. Yep. I know there's
And
other options, but I like the control of Blender. You can pick exactly where your seam lines are going to go and some of that kind of stuff.
yeah, because there was a lot of thought process. So we'll talk about the scientist. There was a lot of thought
Yeah.
process on where you're gonna. I know some of the conversations of let's slice it here because it'll look cleaner. It goes with this edge. It goes with here. This I can print
Yep.
in a different orientation. So, and then did you right away like learn after the first couple of because now you kind of do your I'd say custom pegs, right? I mean, I know there's different
Yeah.
shapes and sizes, but that makes a big difference on assembling the right pieces to each other.
Yeah. So the pegs, oh, of course, I moved everything off the desk. Don't have any sitting right here. The pegs, I started designing like triangular shaped pegs on the mannequin. So that's a lot of pegs holding that together. But then for doing mouse, I designed a friction fit snap pin that actually slides into a custom hole and holds everything together. So there's actually no glue holding this wolf together.
That's what I found impressive, especially with Mouse when you brought him, of knowing that it wasn't glued. Everything was just pressure fit and
Yep.
still looked good, and then you could just take it apart. And yeah, because those
Yep.
things, as he said, what you see in his camera, that's a head, but there's an entire body that's part of that, and he's kind of angled up. So it's a
Yep.
very large print.
Yep.
Now
Yep.
with
And
the
the
go ahead.
dragons, I don't know. Can they see the dragon?
Yep, you can see the outline
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
glowing red eyes. Yep.
Yep. So those guys are 5 kgs of Petchy, and they're kind of held together with all the same things.
And you use them as outdoor decoration, don't you?
Yep. Yep.
And how many years old?
Exactly.
How many years has it survived outside?
They were out last Halloween was the first year, so
Okay.
about 6 weeks outside on those. Yep.
And everything held up good when you brought them back in. Everything good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
They're good to go right back outside.
And what filament was that printed in?
That's Polymaker Pet G Dark Blue.
Turn it into an
Great.
ad. Yeah.
Yep.
No, they look great because yeah, you even channeled. Now the model itself wasn't your own model, but did you
Correct.
modify it for the channel, or was that channel for like the smoke and everything in there?
No, so those are a printed obsession. It's called Drake the Dragon. I believe the actual model is just called Supportless Dragon.
Original.
But then when you download it, the file name is Drake. Anyway, so I blew them up. The original print is only a few inches tall. Blew them up, split them apart, added all the channels, cut out the eyes, so the eyes are red, transparent red PET G with a red LED behind them. And then there's also fog channels up through the nose, so it blows smoke out of the nose.
That's just awesome. Now that's pretty much what you've
Yep.
kind of been doing is you like to have a nice display outside for Halloween. So
Yep.
what other things have you printed for that? Because I know there's those aren't the only things. Obviously the wolf.
I'm tired of paying for and carving pumpkins, so I've reprinted all of my pumpkins. So I have
I don't
life-size
blame you.
printed pumpkins for everywhere, and they all have LEDs with little solar panels that go with them. And then there's the 2 dragons. They're mirrored of each other, and those sit on top of columns as kind of an entryway to the yard display. And then there's Mouse and Squirrel here, and we'll see how many more I get done this year.
There you go. You got a little bit of time left. Now what is
Yep.
the like your neighbors, and I'm sure during trick or treat and everything, people are wanting to walk by. What do they think of it? Do they come up and ask a million questions of where you got it, where you bought it, or do they know right off?
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah.
this is the 3D printing guy."
My direct neighbors know they're 3D printed, but most people that come up and ask are like, where'd you buy it? Where can I get one? That kind of stuff. Yeah, and they can't believe it's 3D printed.
So eventually, Traxman's front yard is going to be a Spirit Halloween. He's just going to manufacture all the decorations and sell them there.
Right.
So now, of course, with everything being big, back to the scientist. That was what was the exact height of that, and what kind of usage or what kind of material use was in that?
So the scientist is 1 meter, so 1.95 meters tall, if I remember correct. It is roughly 42 kilograms of teal Polymaker Petchy.
So just a lot. And how much time did it
Yeah.
take to print?
From the day Nick said yes, let's do it, till the day it was packed in a crate was 3 weeks, and that includes sizing the model, cutting it, printing it, building a custom crate. Yeah, it was that was that was a race.
Yeah, and that was all done and test fitted, then shipped. And because where was it? It was first introduced at
Rapid.
Rapid, right? Okay, yep.
Yep.
And then who's taller? Is it Nick or the scientist?
Nick is just a couple inches taller, maybe 3 inches taller.
So now, and then the thing is too. So of course, sorry, I'm trying to look up. I thought I had the picture saved somewhere. I was going to display it, but the base itself. So it was talked about, just of course with the time constraint, the base being made out of multiple different materials. Did that end up being 3D printed also? Correct.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is mostly hollow. There's a piece of 3/4 inch plywood
kind of
inserted into it. Yep. Yep, exactly. Because we ran out of time to get it all done solid, and actually it worked out really nicely that way.
Oh yeah, and it gave that extra weight and everything. But yeah, that's just
Yep.
I said of the down to the final hours. I know there was like, okay, well, the original plan for the base wasn't gonna fall through, and yeah, so congrats on that to get that all off and done. Now with, of course, kind of being known as the big print guy, you also were one of the first with a tool changing printer, right? That built a tool changer.
Yeah,
I know there's a
so
lot, but it's hard to say first. But one of the first ones I've seen working, at least.
yeah, so within the Stealth Changer project, that's correct.
There you go.
I have serial number 4. Austin Zombie Hedgehog kind of turned me on to that project. Completely unplanned. We both ended up ordering blue framed LDO 350 Voron 2.4 kits at the same time, and we were talking on the Discord and figured that out, and we were both planning to tool changer them, and then he found this Stealth Changer project, and so we both kind of worked on that together, or at the same time, I should say.
Kind of work off each other's mistakes
Yep.
and findings. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And he's serial number 2, and I'm serial number 4.
Yeah, well, now I just pulled this up. Everything's live, so I forgot I should have went in studio mode. But let's go ahead and do this live. So this is the scientist. If those that haven't seen it, it now resides. Where does it reside at now?
It is in the entryway to the Polymaker office in Houston.
So it says went to Rapid and then traveled there for its final resting home, and yeah, that's all. Polymaker Teal, Pet G, and there's another picture of all the boxes stacked up. It's insane, but. Yeah, I should have came a lot more prepared to having that. So thank you for the the save there. But just a cool print. Now, with the tool changer itself, of course, you had your trials and tribulations and some few choice words at certain times. How overall is that project? Yeah, is that project still furthering and improving or?
Yep. Yeah. So I took the printer to Rocky Mountain. Zombie and myself and JD Montgomery all kind of partnered together and had 3 stealth changers there at the show, and got to know JD and the developers as part of that, and got invited to be on the beta test team. So I'm still actually active working on it. I actually had it apart this weekend with some new parts, but yeah, they're pushing forward, always tweaking things, adding compatibility with new tool heads, and there's actually a lot of really exciting things coming that haven't been announced yet.
There we go. So we'll have to stay tuned. What would you say now with having a tool changer, whether it be multicolor or multi-material? What are some cool things that you've made with it?
Again, I should have grabbed prints, but
Fidget.
I did the fidget cubes and multicolored lizards at Rocky Mountain. I did a pretty big figment print. It's about a foot tall for the US people, 250 millimeters, I think is what that was. and just lots of little fun stuff that
Oh
I've
yeah.
it printed the head on this. The actual face is printed on Tool Changer.
Okay.
I've also done some multi-material stuff, so using PETG as supports or PLA as supports for a PETG print.
Yeah, vice versa.
Yep.
Yep. So and that's
Yep.
what is it? Is it 350, right?
Correct. Yeah. In
So
fact, so Tool Changer printed the head of the scientist. I needed the way
oh,
I
okay.
cut it. I cut it so the shirt line was at an angle. So or excuse me, the neckline was at an angle and followed the shirt. So it just hide that edge a little bit,
Another one of those things that you use Blender for rather than the other
Yes,
apps.
exactly. But that meant the head was tilted back, so I needed supports on the hair in the back. So I used Tool Changer with PLA for the supports so that it came out really clean still.
Oh yeah, rather than having that kind of rough back head. Yeah, so that just goes to show how much pride you take in your work of going that far through it to make sure the whole thing. And I knew going through you were beating yourself up about it, so it was nice to see.
Yeah,
I can't wait to go down to the Houston office so I can actually see it in person because I have yet to, and I'll definitely be shorter than it, unfortunately, but not as short as what Sean would be, and I know he's not watching, so I can make jabs at him.
Oh.
But now with all the big things, is there anything you're currently working on that you're planning on working on in the future that might be cool that we might see somewhere?
So I just finished this wolf not that long ago, and then there's two or three more kind of slowly in the works. So kind of
work in progress.
Taking a little bit of a break right now. But yeah, I've been kind of tinkering around with it and getting ready to start printing some big stuff again.
So now, how many? Of course, you got your 205 plus. You got your Tool Changer. How many printers do you have in your fleet or farm? Or
there's 5 currently. This is my 300 Voron 2.4 behind me, and then behind the Wolf is a Magneto X, which that thing prints really nice most of the time.
When it prints nice.
Yeah, it's not designed as a PLA printer, but it's by far the most cooling of any of my printers. It does a fantastic job printing PLA.
Now, how weird is it to see the head move back and forth with just that magnetic lev and no noise? I mean, obviously, you still have like the
printing
stuff, but
printing PETG where there's hardly any cooling needed. It's so quiet and it moves so fast. I'm not even really pushing it, and I'm doing 700 millimeter travels, printing easily at 300 millimeters on infill. So, and it's super quiet. It's really nice, actually.
Now, of course, which I think several episodes ago, we talked about the possibility of them coming out with an IDEX. Is that something, if they do come out with, that you're interested in, or is it kind of you don't want to tinker with it?
So my next printer is actually going to be a rat rig, VCore 4, 500, of course.
Gotta go big,
and yep, and I'll be doing IDEX on that. I'm not sure on Magneto. I know they've kind of teased it, but I haven't seen much information on if you're going to lose bed space. Yeah.
Fair. So now what you're saying though too with the rat rig, it's being the 500 cube. Is it 500 cubed or 500 by 500 by like 400?
It is cubed. Yep.
500 cube. So with that, what you're saying is when Nick needs another full-size scientist, you can get it done in a week.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, let me really record this part here and send it to Nick. But other than that, is there any other than big stuff? Is there any other things that you're looking forward to, whether it be hardware or things that you've kind of been on the back burner to print just because you've been busy with other stuff?
I keep them busy with Toys for Tots. You can see the trains sitting on top of the 300 there. Got quite a bit of those already printed. Getting close to about 200 done, which I know isn't huge numbers, but I feel like throwing something on the printer overnight. I throw a couple on and let it run.
That's 200 more that kids are going to get that they wouldn't have if you didn't. So yeah, even if you can print 20, 50, whatever.
Yep. And it's not even September 1st. So
Now, is that
Yep.
something that you do for local Toys for Tots, or do you do one of the online campaigns?
So this all will go to Madison, and then from there, I'm not sure what actual
Where it
Marine
divvies up
distribution
to,
center
and
it goes to.
whoever needs it the most, I'm sure. So
Yep. Yeah.
now, is with all the things that you print, obviously a lot of the outdoor stuff is Pet G your pretty much your go-to, or have you went to like ASA, ABS, and kind of moved to different ones, or do you have a favorite?
Oh, a favorite? It just depends what I'm doing. Obviously with building printers, I do a fair bit of ABS, ASA as well. You know, and do find that to be good to print, fun to print with. A lot of the toys are PLA. Any of the kind of figurines I do are PLA. But anything going outside is PETG.
And now for the future, is there any? I know you said you kind of got away from 3D printing. Have you thought about getting back into the cosplay era now that you kind of have? Well, not kind of. You have a lot
Yep.
more experience.
Yeah, I'll be getting back into it. The shelves behind me are the next project that's mid stage, and yeah, one of my goals for the winter is to finish that.
There you go. Always a project to finish, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Now, anything here in just a minute here. If you guys have any questions for him, make sure to ask. YouTube, Twitch. I don't know how far. I know my YouTube is, I think, kind of behind, but community questions, open those. Start asking away. We'll get to those in just a second. Give you guys time to catch up to where the show is, and we'll see. Hey, there's not so dirt. Hey, not so dirt. I hope that you didn't miss the fact we shared one of your prints. Hey, actually, not to take away from the thing, not so dirt. If you have that shared, or if you're allowing people to download that file, the Catan one, feel free to post it in here, or I don't know if it'll let you. If not, message me. But anybody with questions, questions for Adam. Now, what I was going to ask too is, of course, most of your outside prints are Halloween, so it's where you're at. It's chilly, I guess, not necessarily frozen. I guess it depends on the year. Have you ever let them out in pretty severe weather?
They actually got snowed on last year.
Okay.
I think the week of Halloween we got like 2 inches of snow. So that was interesting. Luckily, didn't have any cracking issues or anything there.
Was it, were you scared the next morning going out, like, okay, I got to go do a full inspection, see what happened, see if something separated it, or
not
just kind of leave it?
Probably not as much as I should have been.
Yeah.
It scares me more when, October, I'm in Wisconsin, so October it's hot at the beginning and then we get storms through the middle of the month. So like the wind and heavy rain, thunderstorms, that kind of stuff makes me nervous for things getting blown over onto them, because I've had that issue with props before too. So, but
Yeah.
last year, everything was fine. So knock on wood, this year is
Knock on
fine
wood.
too.
So now, do you have an entire garage or storage facility for all the prints, for all the decor?
I'm a little bit spoiled there. We have an extra office upstairs at work that isn't used. So, and this
There you go.
weird little, we call it the Hobbit room. The door to get into it's only 4.5 feet tall. So
It's
a
a
lot
weird
of it.
one.
Yes, it is. But
Yeah.
hey, it works great for storing Halloween decorations.
As long as the hobbits don't come after you.
Yep.
Let's see. Matt German over in YouTube did ask, which we covered, but he asked if you use Lumen 3D for your Polymaker Scientist, which wasn't used Blender, correct?
Yeah. I haven't looked at Lubin. I tried Mesh Mixer once, and I just, like I said earlier, I just prefer the control over Blender.
And then
it's
once
more
you're
work,
kind of used to a
but-
tool that it feels right, then it's just
Yeah.
easier to use anyway, a little more intuitive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let me see here. I gotta scroll down and make sure. Does anybody else have any other question before we get to the end there? We'll get some rapid fire questions going, which I'm gonna share early because I normally don't. Is they're I don't know, you can't see. Is it? Oh, it's blacking it out. Wow, that really green screens that away, doesn't it? There's all your all the rapid fire. all off the top of the dome, which these interviews are all off the top of the dome. Nothing's set forth. Okay,
All
now
right.
there's gonna get things, and then Sebastian, you can't do I am awesome. You win too many times. But now, of course, you were at Rocky Mountain. You went to Murph. Any plans? Next year? I know, of course, Rocky or not Rocky Mountain. 3D Printopia's coming up, but any plans to try to hit the same ones that you hit last or this year, next year?
I'd definitely like to do Rocky Mountain again. Murph is a little difficult with the summer schedule. So I do fireworks on the side, like professional fireworks. So that's kind of getting into that time frame of getting ready for that or possibly having shows. So committing to that one is a little bit difficult.
And sometimes you guys can get a free show in the Polymaker Discord hangout.
Yeah.
He's come in a few times and done some lives and get that first person view, which is awesome.
Yep.
And loud.
Yep. And then, East Coast, we'll see. Still considering this year whether I'll be there or not. The one I think I'd like to show at next year is Open Sauce. I went with Additive Atom. Yep. And we displayed HueForge, and there wasn't a whole lot of 3D printing there. So, and especially larger. Yeah, exactly. So, he and I are kind of talking about some things possibly, and see if we can get some people on board and get something working for that.
That'll be awesome. I'll be there next year, obviously. So I look forward to seeing you there for sure, and seeing what next huge creation, especially with a 500 cube. That just, of course you can still splice anything into parts for a 350, but 500 just makes it that much easier to go big. So we'll see here.
Yep.
Then we did have another question. Let's see. Speaking of Additive Adam over on YouTube, why wasn't Trax Mom not interviewed first? I guess that's a question for me.
It's a good question.
And it's because I don't have her on Discord. That's why.
She hasn't joined yet.
Yeah, so you never know. Trax Mom, for those that go to an event and see Traxman, his mom, she's went to a couple of them, right? The Rocky Mountain and Murph, I know at least.
Yep.
I know she went to Open Sauce.
No.
The loveliest lady in the world. I'm not just saying that because Traxman is right here. But no, she's just the sweetest lady. She hung with all of us late night in the lobbies, just talking, having fun, always smiling, gives great hugs. So no, she's an awesome lady. Let's see here.
Definitely.
Just Push Print is asking how much electronics go into the eyes, etc., on the big projects.
So not that much. The circuit board is in the Dragon, of course. There's actually just a little tiny, super cheap battery management board that has input for. I use the input for a solar panel, just a small little 100 milliamp hour or 100 milliamp solar panel. And it charges a 18650 lithium battery and then has an output to the LED. So if the battery gets too low, it'll cut off the LED. But that's it. The thing I would like to add to it is some sort of photo cell that would actually turn off the LED while the solar panel is getting power. Because that eats, there's 4 LEDs in this that eats about half of the solar panel's power.
Like I'd rather route that all to the battery.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, I keep them simple.
Right, and then not a question, but Additive Adam says, Traxman, thanks again for your help at Open Sauce 2024. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, thanks for the invite. That was a great trip, a great event, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
There you go. Well, we'll go ahead and move to the rapid fire questions. Let me study them real quick. We'll start with the first one. It's always easy. What's your favorite color of filament? Or it can be surface finish, or it doesn't have to be a direct color, but color / surface finish.
You know what? That train engine right here, this red. I'm sorry, Polymaker. I keep telling you, you gotta come out with
red. Yeah.
a nice metallic red. Yeah, the camera's not picking up how metallic that is. But that's my favorite. That Pet G dark blue is a very close second.
There you go. Yep.
Oh, it's
and
great.
Hey, Polymaker's always throwing out new colors, new filament. And
Yep.
Panchroma Fiberon wasn't the stopping point. There's more to come. So we'll see what the future holds. Next question that I have not written down here. With all the big stuff, if you could print, anything, whether you could model it or even if there's not a model of it, what is something that you would love to print large?
So if anyone has seen the Netflix rendition of Lost in Space, the latest version, the robot costume in that, I really want to do a full-size robot.
And of course, we always say the sky's the limit, so it could be a possibility then.
But there's no model available, and I haven't run across a modeler that I think would be interested in it. So if anybody's got any suggestions, hit me up for sure.
Hey, I know a few people that are sculpting in Nomad, so maybe that we can make that one of their weekly things, right? Right, Adam?
Yep.
So now again on the big stuff, let's say you got unlimited filament, everything else. How big would you go on anything, whether it be the robot or anything else?
Oh, I mean, the Scientist was a big project. Yeah. Let's just say it depends whose budget it is.
There you go. Fair. Yeah. Very fair.
Yeah.
I think other than that, I don't have any other rapid fire questions because I came super prepared. But is there anywhere, of course, we got your X. I always forget that it's backwards. We got your X.com. That's of course. Do you post a lot on that with your projects?
Some, usually when they're completed. The wolf or squirrel here, this is actually kind of Squirrel's main public debut. Because I was kind of waiting to post it on Polymaker until it's actually set up in the display.
Part of it.
Yep.
And I want to point out too, real quick, that Polymaker 3D, which not me this time, it's Nick. I will put our budget to the test. So you may,
all right,
you may regret those words, Jackson. We can always go bigger, better. So with that said, is anything else that you want to plug or anything like so, whether it be socials or anything that you're working on, going to work on, anything you want, this is your time to say whatever you'd like or thank the community, whatever. This is your moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, really just thanking the community. I wouldn't be here talking to you, in this capacity if it wasn't for the Polymaker Discord and Nick doing his live streams, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, to even join the community. So that's been great. So come join the hangouts. You never know where it could lead.
Is what he did.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I say. So, but seriously, thank you for being on the show. Like I said, I knew a lot of the story, but it's a fun one to share. Like I said, between the background and how you got into it and what you're doing, because you do some crazy big stuff, and I can't wait to see what else is coming out. So, as Nick said, the budget's pretty much endless when it comes to filament and Polymakers. So we'll see what we can pull you into soon. But I'll let you go. You have yourself a good night, and thanks again for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Again, awesome maker. I say it every time. Every one of these guys, girls, women, men, however you want to say, are awesome. Thank you, Traxman, for being on the show. I get to talk to him, almost nightly on Discord. Super nice guy, smart guy, and like I said, takes passion in what he does on the 3D print stuff. The Scientist is a prime example of that, along with his decor that he does in his Halloween setup. It's cool stuff. So that is it for the interview. We're almost at the end of the show. I'll remind you one last time to do I am awesome in the chat. You don't see it right here. I probably should put it back on there on this scene. But anyway, there's updates to be done. So make sure to type in I am awesome in chat, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch, because I will be doing a drawing as soon as I'm done rambling on for Spool of Filament. But with that said, we have always many projects with many more to come. Eventually, this part of the show is going to probably be in a half hour of all the things that I have to, not have to, but I choose to talk about. So thank you guys. I see all in there. Polymaker's awesome. Make sure to do I Am Awesome too. Don't miss out. But we have our Polymaker figurines project still going strong, still pumping out Pokemon after Pokemon after Pokemon. I never got into the Pokemon stuff, but I've done some of the prints and they're awesome. They're fun. That's led by Antoine Dimensions, and he is going live across all the socials on Polymaker figurines. And every 2 days, as I think the schedule he's still on, and he is releasing those models available in Maker World. As soon as the video is available, that model becomes available, whether it be multicolor, solid, however you want to print it. It's free. Download it, print it however you please, display it with pride, or give it as gifts. So awesome thing there. We also have our Polymaker education. Britt has been working on some stuff in the background. That's Creatrix Britt running that project. Just a lot of stuff of just education, teaching people, teaching children different things, helping with motor functions, helping with just life things in general. That booth, we also have a booth displaying some of that stuff at 3D Printopia with a lot of other cool things. So we'll talk more about that probably next week on the 3D Printopia stuff as it gets closer. And our next couple guests are going to kind of focus on those. So stay tuned. But that's Polymaker education again across all the socials. And lastly, we have the Polymaker show in printing color presented by Pezliz. That is at twitch.tv/Pezliz. Just a joy to watch, always has good energy, always good attitude. And she goes over all the different colors, use cases, all the surface finishes. And as I said earlier in the interview, Polymaker's not done. They're never done. There's always stuff. There's many things coming, colors, just keep requesting them, people. All I got to say is be involved in the community. Your voice is being heard. Doesn't mean you're always going to get your wishes granted, but a lot of this stuff they come up with is ideas come from you guys. So come on our Discord at discord.polymaker.com. Come hang out with us at the Hangout. Usually 9 p.m. Eastern every night, but it's kind of random. There's always people in there, on and off throughout the day. Typically, if you join and it's empty, somebody's going to join and say hi and meet you. So definitely a fun place, and there's a lot of stuff to learn in there. So whether you're into RC cars, drones, custom printers, we got channels for everything. We're going to start ramping that stuff up. So stay tuned. If you're not in our Discord yet, definitely recommend joining. There's a lot that's going to be going on, getting updated. But with that said, well, there it is. I was like, wait, it's not moving. We have our I Am Awesome. I Am Awesome in chat is going to be your 20-second notice to get that put in there. And why that's happening, I'm back into the Twitch account so I can see who is live. Video games. And there we go. Okay. So now I'm done looking. I know who we're going to raid, and I'm going to put it in here now before I forget. And we got Digital Dragon. He seems to always be on at the right time. He definitely started going live around this time before I did, so I can't say he copied me or he's trying to get in on it, but there we go. Have that done right. But with that said, we're going over at 50. Awesome. Perfect number to make a drawing. And here we go. Who is going to win? Sebastian, if you win, it's rigged. I'm calling it right now. Who are we going to have? Zombie, I see your name in there. Frankenbeat Gaming. There you go. Over on Twitch side again. We need more YouTube entries. Start telling people they have to go there. I don't think we've had a winner on YouTube yet. We've got 27 episodes in, 28. So congratulations, Frankenbeat Gaming. Reach out to joel.fin@polymaker.com. I don't have to try to remember that email address because it's my own. Just email me there or message me on Discord. I will get that win processed for you. You get yourself a free spool of filament. We do that every episode, guys. So definitely come. Hopefully you enjoy the show. You're not here just for the free filament, but we are here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have been consistent again for the 27, 28 week. I need to count and actually have that stat down there. But we're going strong. We're going to be talking about 3D Printopia in the next couple episodes. So I hope to see you guys here again next week. So until then, you have yourself a good night, a good weekend, and a good week. And we're going to raid out to Digital Dragon show. So show him our love.